The Coyote Twin, Vermilion's Downtown Theater. Providing entertainment Thursdays through Sundays.
Spectrum's drag show gave performers a chance to celebrate their identity.
We'll hear from one performer coming up. Coyote News starts right now.
Live from the Al Newharth Media Center, this is Coyote News.
Welcome to Coyote News. I'm Sydney Colin.
And I'm Kylie Moore. The recent conflict in Iran is affecting many people around the world, including students here at USD.
In our top story tonight, Coyote News' Nathan DeGriff spoke with one Iranian student about the situation impacting her and her family.
Shirin Jafrazadeh is a graduate student in photography who came to the University of South Dakota from Tehran, Iran, hoping to pursue her work without the restrictions she experienced in her home country. Jafrazadeh says that while studying cinema as an undergrad student in Iran, creative expression often came with limits.
At the end of my undergrad, I was like sure that I won't be able to really pursue art in my own country because of the oppression and censorship and the oppression that I'm talking about. It's like really brutal. Like they would arrest you, torture you, and kill you.
On February 28th, the United States and Israel launched strikes on Iran, with the goal to dismantle the country's nuclear program and leadership. The attacks resulted in the death of Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. His son, Mojtaba Khamenei, was later named the country's new leader.
It's like, I'm happy about the war because I think that might be the only hope to get rid of this murderous, brutal regime, but at the same time, it's my country also, it's my people. I'm worried. It's war, and war, war is never clean.
Communication with her family back home has been difficult, most of her conversations being short phone calls only lasting a few minutes. Like many people in the U.S., much of the information she receives about what is happening in Iran comes from the media.
From what I've experienced in the country and in the region, it's very different from how usually media approach Middle East or any conflict in the Middle East. It's always like in media, it feels black and white, but it's really not black and white. There is not like a good side and bad side.
Jafrazadeh won Best of Show at the 2026 Stillwell Awards and is currently working on projects that combine photography and film, and says she is thankful for the support from both her peers and faculty. For Coyote News, I'm Nathan DeGriff.
A more in-depth version of the story is available in the newest edition of The Volant and also at volantonline.com.
In other news tonight, a Snapchat video has spread across the internet of South Dakota State University students yelling racial slurs. In an official statement from SDSU President Barry Dunn, Dunn says, quote, "We are aware of the video and an investigation has been initiated." He also writes, quote, "Retaliation of any kind against individuals being investigated or those who report concerns, participate in an investigation, or express their perspectives in good faith will not be tolerated."
The Fine Arts Department has announced that they are cutting $300,000 from their budget for the next 2 years. Bruce Kelly, Dean of the College of Fine Arts, said that in an email that revenue for the college fell nearly $300,000 this year compared to last year. While Kelly hasn't officially announced if anyone will lose their jobs, he has said that he has been working with a team to try and figure out what caused the drop in revenue.
In state news, Governor Larry Roden has signed a bill that would ban soft drinks from being purchased with SNAP benefits in South Dakota. House Bill 1056 requires that the Department of Social Services submits a federal waiver to the U.S. Department of Agriculture. The waiver would ask for soda to be excluded from the list of eligible foods available through the SNAP program.
Spectrum's semi-annual drag show returned to campus last week, giving students a space to celebrate creativity and community. The event brought performers and students together for a night of music, costumes, and performances. For some, the show is a chance to express themselves and celebrate their identity in a positive environment.
I used to be a person who was very closed-minded, sheltered. I'm not that kind of a person, but drag actually has brought out a better person in me, myself, and being able to express myself.
Spectrum leaders say the show gives students an opportunity to support performers and build a stronger sense of community on campus. While the drag show won't return to campus until the fall, Star says she enjoys helping students learn more about the art of drag. Students interested in learning more about Spectrum's upcoming events can join their weekly meetings held Mondays at 6:30 in Muck 219.
Coming up, fraternities and sororities compete for a chance at gold. You're watching Coyote News. Took place last week with multiple competitions between sororities and fraternities. These all led up to Thursday's main event, the Greek Olympics. Taking place in the Dakota Dome, students played many games in hopes to win big for their chapter. Each chapter had members show up to support their successes. Emma Schernstein helped organize the Olympics.
Our highlight of the week was the Greek Olympics tonight, where we're having dodgeball, tug-of-war, and a giant relay race. We're expecting a lot of members from all the chapters to come.
At the end of the Greek Olympics, Pi Beta Phi, Lambda Chi Alpha, and Tau Kappa Epsilon were announced the champions of the event.
The Phi Delta Theta fraternity is hosting their annual Chislik Feed. The goal of the event is to raise money for ALS. The Chislik Feed starts at 7 tonight at the Eagles Club and runs until 9. And after spring break, the Sigma Alpha Epsilon fraternity is hosting their philanthropy event, Tender Tuesday. Raising Cane's chicken, toast, and fries will be provided. All proceeds will go to the Children's Miracle Network. Tender Tuesday is Tuesday, March 24th at 5 o'clock at the Sigma Alpha Epsilon chapter facility.
Vermilion's mayoral race is beginning to take shape. One candidate, retired USD Administrator Kevin O'Kelly, recently announced his campaign. Coyote News' Mohammed is live in the muck with the mayoral candidate. Mohammed.
Thank you, Kylie. I'm here with Kevin O'Kelly, who is a mayoral candidate here in Vermilion. Kevin, thank you so much for joining us. We first have to start with the motivation. What led you to run for mayor of Vermilion?
Well, that's a kind of a cliched answer. I want to serve my community. I want to serve my hometown. But everybody says that, and I'm glad. We have people that are willing to serve, and I'm one of them.
And Kevin, for a lot of students or residents who may not follow city government that closely, what has been one of the most pressing issues that city government has been facing or the city is facing right now?
Well, it's the same issue that every city is facing. It's money. How do we spend our money? How do we collect our money? Are our taxes too high? What do we spend them on? This is why we have a city council to help decide, elected officials help decide how we're going to spend the money that, frankly, we take from you. And I consider tax dollars to be sacred, and I want us to have good, long debates about how we spend that money. There are other issues in Vermilion. There's poverty issues, there's lack of sufficient public transit, there's a lack of sufficient affordable housing, but these are the problems that every community in South Dakota is facing. They're not unique to Vermilion.
And Vermilion and the University of South Dakota have a very close relationship. Under your leadership, what is that relationship going to look like? And what do you think the city's, what the university's place should be?
Well, the university is central to the city of Vermilion. It has been since its inception. The town of Vermilion, the citizens floated a bond. They borrowed money to build the university, Old Main, to build it initially. So we have a very tight relationship with them. The city council is very heavily and has always been very heavily staffed with university folks, and the city folks have been very heavily involved in the university. Go to a football game. There's a lot of local folks there. So we're closely entwined. The University of South Dakota is the economic powerhouse of Vermilion, and we do work well together. We have an organization that brings together the K-12 school district, the university, as well as the city and the county, that works together on some of the common issues. So we all know each other. It's the advantage of a small town. We all know each other. Our kids went to school together, and we work together to plan the future.
And students play an important part here in Vermilion, and during the school year, they are a large population. What is your leadership going to do to connect them to the broader community?
Well, I'm glad you asked. I think that the students of USD are inadequately or insufficiently engaged with the city. We hire them. They work jobs and all that, the pool and summer groundskeeping, that sort of thing. But there are so many more opportunities for the students to be engaged in volunteer activities and tutoring at the Boys and Girls Club. There are a number of ways that students can learn about the city of Vermilion. You pay your taxes here. You spend your money here. And I think that it'd be nice if if we heard your voice in some of the city council meetings and some of our committee meetings. I'd like to hear the student perspective on things. I mean, it's another cliche, I'm sorry, but you are the future and we are spending your tax dollars. So I'd like to hear what you have to say about how we spend them.
And Kevin, last question. On June 2nd, the voters of Vermilion will decide who's the mayor of Vermilion. What do you want people to understand about the direction that you're going to be taking as mayor?
Well, in Vermilion, we have a city manager type of government, city manager form of government, meaning the mayor does not have the power to run the city. We hire a city manager to run the city. So my direction as mayor is not going to be to run Vermilion. John Prescott, our city manager, is great. He runs the city. What I want to do is I want to run or lead the conversation about the future of Vermilion. You know, Vermilion's going to grow, and that's a good thing. We can't stop it or encourage it any more than we can stop the tide coming in it. We are going to grow. And I think we can help guide that growth if we work together and form a plan. So that's what I'd like to do. I'd like to focus on the growth of the city.
Thank you, Kevin, for being here.
You're welcome.
Live from the Muck, I'm Mohammed.
Thanks, Mohammed. Again, elections will be held on June 2nd.
Ramadan ends next week, and the Muslim Student Association, or MSA, is giving students the chance to learn about the significance and experience of Ramadan. Iftar Night is MSA's chance to share and educate about one of their most sacred traditions. Iftar Night runs from 6 to 8 tomorrow night in the Muck Pit.
Spring break is almost here, and instead of a typical vacation, one organization is using the time to help others. Alternative Way of Learning, or AWOL, is giving students an opportunity to volunteer in Houston, Texas, or Kansas City, Missouri.
We talk about culture and being culturally responsive and what that looks like, how to be an ethical volunteer, and really how to experience cultures in other areas, setting aside all of our judgments and biases and just getting ready to absorb whatever it is that we're going into.
The Texas group will be tackling social issues focusing on disability awareness and accessibility. The Missouri group will focus on maternal and prenatal well-being and healthcare access.
For the Chamber Singers, spring break is the culmination of everything they've worked on this semester. Coyote News' Jacob Pierce has the story.
The Chamber Singers is USD's top choir, and right now, they're preparing for their annual spring break tour. This year, the tour will take them through South Dakota, North Dakota, and Minnesota. Over the course of the week, the group will perform nearly 20 times from concerts, school visits, and rehearsals. Dr. David Holthusen says this gives students a deeper appreciation for their music.
They're really going to develop a connection to the music, to the story, to the message that we're trying to display with our music.
Each year, the showcase features a theme that ties all the pieces together, and this year's theme is Americana, and aims to celebrate 250 years of American music.
So basically it's a journey. The first half of the program kind of is the founding of the country. So we start with an America the Beautiful, and then do a Native American tune, and then we do an English anthem just to kind of remind you, remember this is where we came from. And then the second half is more of a celebration of our people.
Holthusen says he hopes both the singers and audience gain a deep appreciation for the showcase and its music. For Coyote News, I'm Jacob Pierce.
The final performance of the tour will be in Vermilion on March 28th.
Next on Coyote Sports, softball takes on Mount Marty at home.
And basketball competes at the Summit League Championships.
Margaret Cottle is a USD psychology major with a minor in arts and health.
I like that I can combine both psychology and art and study two things that I love. I get a lot of satisfaction out of using non-medical treatments such as arts to promote people's wellness and provide therapeutic activities for people. I like watching Coyote News because I feel like it's very authentic and it keeps me up to date of what's going on around campus. I really enjoy the live Q&As and those kind of fun little looks into student life.
This is Coyote News.
Swim and dive compete in the NCAA Zone Diving Championships. This is Coyote Sports. I'm Carter Van Ruler.
And I'm Nadia Castillo. South Dakota women's basketball season ended at the Summit League Championships over the weekend. USC took on Denver for their first game in the tournament. The Coyotes defeated Denver 61-50. Angelina Robles scored 21 points and Patience Williams added 16 points. South Dakota then faced SDSU on Saturday. Robles put up 18 points while Elise Turrubiatis recorded her fifth double-double of the season with 12 points and 11 rebounds. South Dakota fell 74-59 in the semifinals. The Coyotes ended their season with a 23-9 record and a 12-4 conference record.
South Dakota men's basketball also came to a close at the Summit League Championships on Friday. USD took on Omaha for the first round in the tournament. Vince Buzelis led the Coyotes with 16 points and recorded a double-double with 12 rebounds. Jesse McIntosh contributed 14 points as well. South Dakota fell 76-62 in the quarterfinals. The Coyotes ended their season with a 16-16 record and an 8-8 conference record.
USC softball traveled to Colorado for the Colorado Classic. There, the team won 2-2, splitting against both Colorado State and Northern Colorado. Next, they played their first home game of the season against Mount Marty. Kaya Johnson scored the first run of the game, and the Coyotes didn't look back as they scored 14 in 5 innings. 4 different Coyotes pitched as they held the Lancers scoreless in a 14-0 victory. The team hits the road again, playing 6 games in Missouri. There are many shows at USC keeping students up to date on the latest sports. Coyote News' Alyssa Baugh is live in the mug with one KOR sports show host. Alyssa?
Thanks, Nadia. I'm here with Get in the Game co-host Jackson Garstecki. Jackson, tell us a little bit about your show and tell us about your background in sports.
Yeah, so we have a show every Tuesday at 3 p.m. goes from 3 to 5. It's me and then my other co-host, Nick Brown. And we just kind of talk all things sports. So I don't know, we talk a lot of, Coyote athletics, but also professional sports, whether it's the MLB, the World Baseball Classic right now, the NFL when that's going on. But my background in sports, I don't know, I've always kind of loved it since I was a kid. And I just think I don't know, it's just, I don't know, I love sports, I guess. So, yeah, I don't know.
Why did you start your show and how did you get its name?
Actually, my co-host Nick Brown came up with the name, so I had nothing to do with that. I just kind of show up and am on the show. He takes care of all the behind-the-scenes stuff, but yeah, I don't know.
What are some Coyote athletic events that you've covered recently, and what are your opinions about them? Maybe what you've seen recently or what some changes might be in Coyote athletics. Give us a little breakdown.
Yeah, so obviously basketball season just ended, so we covered a lot of that, especially with the Summit League tournament last weekend and just kind of the race to the Summit League with standings. The men's team was in a big race for, around the 4 to 7 spots. So the end of the regular season there, we covered a lot of that. The women had a couple games with SDSU, including the tournament last weekend. But, now that basketball's over, we're going to get into softball a little bit here. They had their home opener yesterday, so was able to get out for that. And they had a nice win over Mount Marty. Not quite as big of a school as South Dakota, but still a good way to warm up and a good way to start the season at home.
And what is your favorite sports memory that you've talked about on your show? And maybe tell us about the chemistry you have with your show host when you talk about those sports memories.
Yeah, we've got some pretty good chemistry. We met last year. He came in the second semester and we were on the same dorm floor, and we just, I don't know, we're pretty similar. We both love sports, and so our chemistry is good. I think we kind of think alike, and my favorite memory would probably be just a couple weeks ago talking about the Olympics. We talked a lot about that over the 2-week span, especially like the hockey teams winning the gold medal. That was probably the most fun I've had on the show, just kind of talking the Olympics. It's just something you don't talk about a lot, right? It only happens every 4 years. So I think that was fun to talk about, and yeah.
Do you have any upcoming events that you're going to talk about or that you're looking forward to?
Nothing too specific. I wasn't able to be on the show yesterday just because I went out to the softball game to cover that. So, we'll see what happens over the next week here. The World Baseball Classic's going on, so I'm sure we'll talk about that quite a bit next week. But other than that, we just kind of wait, right? We wait it out all week and see what stories develop, and we just kind of go from there.
Thank you for being here, Jackson. Live from the Muck, I'm Alyssa Bott.
Thanks, Alyssa. Again, Gate in the Games is Tuesday from 3 to 5.
South Dakota men's golf competed at the Donald Ross Collegiate. The team finished 6th overall with Joe Rollwing leading the way at 3 under par, which was good enough for a top 10 individual finish. The team competes again April 6th and 7th at the Tiger Invitational. Women's golf competed at the SoCal Spring Invitational in California earlier this week. Eva Greenberg led the Coyotes, finishing in 23rd place with 12 over par. Overall, the team placed 10th in the tournament. USD will compete in Branson, Missouri, beginning on Monday, March 23rd.
2 Coyote divers competed at the NCAA Zone Diving Championships. Maddox Mark was the only Coyote to qualify for the finals, finishing in 18th with a total score of 563.05. The Coyote women's team competed in Colorado over the weekend. USD lost 5-0 against Air Force on Friday. The Coyotes then faced Denver on Saturday, where they lost 6-1. Selena Bird earned the lone point for South Dakota in her singles matchup. The team will be competing in Des Moines on Saturday against Drake.
Coyote football released their 2026 spring football schedule. Spring ball starts March 25th and ends with the second annual USD Family Day of April 25th.
That's it for Coyote Sports.
When we come back, we ask students what temperature is too cold for shorts. Stay with us.
Vermilion Farmers Market welcomes everyone in the community, from shoppers to vendors, nonprofits, and even pets. Each market day features fresh flavors, unique finds, and friendly faces. The vendors offer a wide range of products, including meats, bread, vegetables, and crafts. The market's mission is to support local agriculture by providing access to homegrown goods all year long for the community.
Join us on selected Saturdays at the Clay County 4-H Center.
This is Coyote News.
Changing weather can be damaging for some species. However, one species has used the changing climate to their advantage. A recent study of king penguins showed that they began breeding 19 days earlier on average in 2025 compared to the year 2000. This change increased the breeding success rate by 40%. Scientists say that an animal adapting to season shifts like this so well is unpredicted and quite striking. Earlier in the show, we talked about how students are gearing up for next week's break.
We asked our Instagram followers what would be their ideal spring break this year.
Now, me personally, I'm going to California, hoping to get on a tropical beach of some sort. What about you, Kylie?
I will be staying on my couch. However, I would love to go to a big city, maybe New York, maybe Los Angeles.
Let's see what people had to say. Tropical beach wins. Look at that. Follow our Instagram page for more weekly polls.
The arrival of spring means one day might be 70 and sunny and the next snowing. So it's smart to be prepared with the right clothes.
We asked students what temperature is too cold for shorts.
Here's what they had to say.
30s, anything in the 30s.
Anything under 65 degrees in my opinion.
It's too cold for shorts when it hurts your legs. So like below 33 degrees.
Anything below 50, I would say. I don't wear shorts that much, but when I see people walking around past that, I'm like, you're showing off.
Probably like 40.
I think like 50 degrees.
Like 55.
I would say 40.
Too cold, like 60 degrees. Below 45.
Anything below 25.
Below 50. Anything below 40, I would say.
I'd say anything below freezing.
40.
40?
Below 50.
Anything below 40. I'm gonna say anything below 50 degrees.
Low-key 60 degrees. So like 20 degrees, 30, like freezing point, I would say. Yeah.
Probably like 40 degrees.
Now, I feel like this question really depends on if it's sunny and if there's wind outside, but I would say on a day like today where we had snow and now it's all melted, it's still not acceptable to wear shorts.
I would say probably 32. Yeah.
I'm just not a huge fan of shorts overall, so I'm with the one person who said maybe 60 degrees, then that's where I think I'd consider.
See, I'd have to agree with Sydney here. I think I get really cold really easily, and if there's even a slight breeze, I need me a pair of pants.
Well, that's all for Coyote News.
Pick up the volant to see which business won Vermilion's first ever pizza battle.
Listen to 91.1 for news updates throughout the week and for coverage of your USD sports.
Don't forget to follow our social media pages for the weekly poll. Just a reminder that we will not have a show next week. We will be back March 25th. Have a great night.